Okay, we've all been there. You're trying to do something simple online, log in, buy something, whatever, and the app just breaks. It's infuriating, right? But have you ever stopped to think about the people whose entire job is to stop that from happening? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the world of software testing. You know the feeling. You type in your password, you hit that login button, and nothing. Just crickets. Or worse, you get some weird error message that makes zero sense. It is so frustrating. And really, that frustration is where our whole story begins. Yup, behind every app that works the way it's supposed to, there's a team of software testers. Think of them as the guardians of quality, the ones working behind the scenes to make sure our digital lives don't fall apart. But how do they actually do it? How do they find all those little bugs before we do? Let's get into it. So the first line of defense is, you guessed it, a real person. A human being sitting down at a computer and using the software just like you or I would. This is what we call manual testing. It's kind of like being a detective, following a very specific set of clues to see if everything checks out. And at the absolute heart of that detective work is this thing called a test case. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a recipe. It gives you step-by-step instructions for checking one specific thing. If you follow the recipe perfectly, you should get a perfect result every single time. If you don't, well, then you know something's wrong. So the very first test case is almost always what's called the happy path. This is the best case scenario, right? Everything goes exactly as planned. You pop open the login page, you type in the right username, you type in the right password, you click the button, and bam, you're in. It works. This tells the team that the most fundamental, basic function is solid. Awesome. But let's be real. Life isn't always a happy path, is it? And this is where it gets really interesting. A great tester's job isn't just to confirm that things work. It's to see what happens when they don't. They are basically professional button pushers, trying to break things intentionally to see how the software holds up. So this means you also have to test all the unhappy paths. What happens if you type in the wrong password? You definitely shouldn't get logged in, but you also shouldn't see some confusing technical error. You should get a clear, helpful message. Same if you leave a field blank. It's all about making sure the software can fail gracefully. Now, you can probably imagine doing all of this by hand for every single feature, every single time a tiny change is made. My gosh, that would take forever. It would be super tedious. And that is exactly why we have our second method, automation. This is all about teaching a computer to run the tests for us. Okay, I know, this might look like a bunch of complicated code, but trust me, it's actually really simple. This script is doing the exact same thing we did in our manual happy path test. It's just written in a language the computer can understand and execute in like a fraction of a second. It's telling the computer, type this username here, type this password there, click that button, and then check if you see a welcome message. And the commands themselves are pretty intuitive, right? Enter text tells the computer what to type. Click button tells it what to click. But the real magic, the most important part, is that last line, assert. That's the computer's moment of truth. It's basically asking, did we get the result we were expecting? If that welcome message is on the page, the test passes. If it's not there, the test fails, and it immediately sends up a big red flag to the developer. So now we have our two contenders, the creative, curious human tester, and the super fast, precise automated script. So which one is better? Well, let's put them head to head. It really boils down to this. Manual testing runs on human intuition. It's about a person actually using the app and noticing things a script never would, like, that button feels a little slow, or this layout just looks weird. Automation, on the other hand, is all about tireless robotic repetition. A machine can run the same test 10,000 times in a row, and it will never get bored, never get distracted, and it'll never make a typo. So when you look at them side by side, you see they each have a place where they really shine. Manual testing is absolutely essential when you're exploring a brand new feature. You want a human to just poke around, try weird things, get a feel for it. But for those repetitive checks you have to run over and over and over again to make sure nothing's broken, that is where automation is the undisputed king. And that's the real superpower of automation. These tests can be run thousands of times a day automatically. They're constantly checking for what we call regressions. That's when a new change accidentally breaks an old feature that used to work perfectly. It's an incredible safety net. But here's the catch. A computer only ever does exactly what you tell it to. It's not going to have a sudden flash of inspiration and think, hey, I wonder what happens if I try to upload a giant video file where my tiny profile picture is supposed to go. That kind of creative chaos, that's where a human tester is still completely unmatched. So after all that, what's the big takeaway? In the battle for software quality, who wins? Team manual or team automation? The reality is it was never a competition to begin with. It's a partnership. The best teams, the ones that build the software you love to use, they use both. They let the machines handle all the boring, repetitive grunt work, and that frees up their brilliant human testers to do what humans do best: explore, be creative, and hunt down those really strange, unpredictable bugs. It really makes you wonder, right? As AI gets more and more powerful, will we see a day when it can actually replicate that human curiosity? Could a machine learn to be a creative troublemaker for us? It's a fascinating thought. But for now, the next time you log into an app and everything just works, take a moment to thank the testers, both the human detectives and their robot sidekicks who made it all possible.